I still remember the color of that water. Brown, thick, angry. Like the earth itself had turned liquid and decided to take back what we'd built on top of it. That's what I think about when people ask me to tell the story. They want the heroic version, the clean one, the kind that makes sense at church potlucks and veteran appreciation dinners. But the truth is messier than that. The truth is I almost died that day. And I wasn't the one who saved that boy. Not really. Not alone. I'm going to tell you what actually happened in Louisiana, not the newspaper version, not the medal ceremony speech. The real version, the one that still wakes me up at 3 a.m. with my heart pounding and my sheets soaked through. Because if I don't tell someone the truth, I think it might eat me alive. And maybe, just maybe, you need to hear it too. My name is Marcus Reed. Staff Sergeant, Louisiana Army National Guard. 16 years of service when the flood hit. I've done tour overseas, I've done disaster relief, hurricanes, tornadoes, ice storms that turned entire cities dark for weeks. I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you because I need you to understand something. I wasn't some rookie. I'd seen death before. I'd pulled bodies from rubble. I'd held the hand of a dying man while we waited for a medevac that came too late. I thought I'd seen everything. I thought I was prepared. I was wrong. The morning the flood hit, I was home in Baton Rouge drinking coffee on my back porch. The sky looked wrong, gray and swollen, hanging too low like it was pressing down on the world. My wife Sarah was inside getting ready for work. My daughter Emma was still asleep. Normal morning. Normal life. Then my phone rang. It was Lieutenant Jackson. Marcus, we're activating. Governor declared a state of emergency. They're saying this storm is going to be worse than predicted. We need all hands. I didn't hesitate. This was what I did. This was what I trained for. I kissed Sarah goodbye, told her I'd be back soon, told her I loved her. She gave me that look, the one military spouses know, the one that says, I'm scared but I won't say it because you need to go. I grabbed my gear and left. I didn't know I wouldn't see my house again for 8 days. I didn't know what I was about to face. The staging area was chaos. Guardsmen pulling on gear, boats being loaded onto trailers, radios crackling with reports of levees failing, neighborhoods flooding, people trapped. The rain started while we were loading up. Not normal rain. This was biblical. Sheets of water so thick you couldn't see 20 feet in front of you. Thunder that shook your chest. Lightning that turned the world white every few seconds. And it didn't stop. Hour after hour, it just kept coming. We deployed in teams. I was with Jackson plus 2 younger guys named Rodriguez and Chen, good soldiers, strong but young. This was their first major disaster deployment. I could see it in their eyes. Fear. Trying to hide it. Trying to be tough. I'd worn that same mask once. We drove toward St. Helena Parish where the reports were worst. Entire subdivisions underwater, people on roofs, people missing. The roads turned to rivers while we drove. Water crept up from the ditches, spilled over the asphalt, merged into one massive current that didn't care about street signs or property lines. We had to turn back twice. Find alternate routes. The world was transforming around us. Everything I recognized was disappearing under brown water. When we finally reached the staging point, we launched the boats. The subdivision we were assigned to was called Riverbend Estates. Ironic name. The river had definitely bent. Right through their living rooms. The water was already above the first floor windows when we arrived. Just rooftops sticking out. Trees with only their top branches visible. Cars completely submerged. And debris. God, the debris. Everything that wasn't nailed down was floating. Propane tanks, lumber, children's toys, a refrigerator, somebody's mailbox, a doghouse. All of it churning in the current like the world's most horrific stew. We moved slow. Careful. Calling out. National Guard, anyone need rescue? Call out if you can hear us. Most houses were empty. People had evacuated. But not everyone. There's always someone who stays. Someone who thinks they can ride it out. Someone who doesn't have transportation. Someone who won't leave their pets. Someone who's too old, too sick, too stubborn. We pulled a family of 4 off a roof around noon, elderly couple and their 2 adult sons. They'd climbed into the attic when the water came through, then punched through the roof with an axe. Smart. That attic move saves lives. But it's also where we find bodies. People who get trapped. Who run out of air. Who drown in the space between their ceiling and their roof while rescue is 3 blocks away. I tried not to think about that. We kept moving. House to house. Boat to boat. Other teams were out there too, working different streets in the same submerged neighborhood. The rain kept coming. The water kept rising. Around 2 p.m., my chest started feeling weird. Tight. Like someone was pressing on my sternum. Not pain exactly. Just pressure. I chalked it up to stress, dehydration, the weight of the gear. But it didn't go away. It got stronger. And with it came this feeling. This certainty. Someone was still out here. Someone who needed me. I couldn't explain it. Couldn't justify it. But I knew. We need to keep looking, I told Jackson. He looked at me like I was crazy. Marcus, we've cleared this sector twice. Everyone's accounted for according to the resident list. Not everyone, I said. I don't know how I knew. But I did. He saw something in my face. Maybe he trusted my instinct. Maybe he was just humoring me. One more pass, he said, then we moved to the next sector. We turned the boat around. Headed deeper into the subdivision. The water was worse here. Faster. The current grabbed at the boat. Rodriguez was struggling to keep us steady. The engine whined against the flow. We shouldn't have been there. It wasn't safe. But I couldn't shake the feeling. That pressure in my chest. That certainty. And then I saw him. Just for a second. A flash of red fabric between 2 submerged cars. Small. Moving. There, I shouted. Everyone turned. The fabric disappeared under the water. I don't see anything, Chen said. But I'd seen it. I knew I had. Turn left between those cars. Rodriguez angled the boat. We pushed through the debris field. I scanned the water. Murky. Opaque. Hiding everything beneath its surface. Then I saw him again. A boy. Maybe 9 years old. Red t-shirt. Head barely above water. Arms flailing weakly. Going under. There, kid in the water. Everyone saw him this time. But the current was wrong. The debris was too thick. The boat couldn't get close enough. We'll snag him with the hook, Jackson shouted, reaching for the rescue pole. But the kid went under again. Didn't come back up. I counted seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He should have surfaced. Kids panic, they fight, they come up gasping. But he didn't. 10 seconds. 15. He's drowning, I said. And I jumped. I didn't think about it. Didn't calculate the risk. Didn't consider the current or the debris or the fact that I was wearing 40 pounds of gear. I just went. The water hit me like a frozen fist. Cold. So much colder than I expected. It crushed the air out of my lungs. The current grabbed me immediately. Pulled me down. Spun me. I couldn't tell which way was up. My gear dragged at me. My boots felt like concrete blocks. I kicked. Fought. Broke the surface. Gasped. Went under again. This was bad. This was really bad. I'd trained for water rescue. I'd done it before. But never in current like this. Never in water this angry. I was in trouble. Real trouble. And somewhere in this churning hell was a kid who couldn't swim. I tried to get my bearings. Tried to find him. But I couldn't see anything. Just brown water. Debris slamming into me. The roar of the flood in my ears. I went under again. This time I couldn't fight back to the surface. The current held me down. Tumbling me like I was in a washing machine. My lungs started to burn. That cold fire that means you're running out of time. I thought about Sarah. About Emma. About how stupid I'd been to jump without a rope. About how I was going to drown in a suburban subdivision trying to save a kid I couldn't even find. And I prayed. Not the polite kind of prayer. Not the bedtime kind. The desperate kind. The kind that's more scream than words. God help me. Please. I can't do this. I need you. And something touched my shoulder. Not debris. Not a branch. A hand. A pressure. Warm. Impossible. It pushed me. Guided me. Up it. I broke the surface. Gasped. Choked. Air and water fighting in my throat. I was alive. And right in front of me, maybe 6 feet away, was the boy. Floating face down. Not moving. The current pushed us together. I grabbed him. Pulled his head above water. His lips were blue. Eyes closed. He wasn't breathing. No. No, no, no. Not after this. Not after everything. I tried to swim. Tried to get us to the boat. But I couldn't see it. Couldn't see anything but water and debris. The current pulled us. I held the boy above the surface with one arm. Tried to swim with the other. But I was exhausted. The cold was in my bones now. My muscles weren't responding right. We were going to die. Both of us. I jumped in to save him, and I just made it so we'd both drown. I went under again. Still holding him. Still trying. But I had nothing left. My vision was darkening at the edges. My lungs were screaming. This was it. This was how it ended. And then I felt it again. That presence. That impossible warmth in the freezing water. Not just a touch this time. A lifting. Like arms under me. Under both of us. Pushing us up. Moving us forward. I didn't have strength to swim, but we were moving anyway. Breaking the surface. Being carried. I heard shouting. The boat engine. Rodriguez yelling my name. Hands grabbed me. Pulled. I held onto the boy. Wouldn't let go. Couldn't let go. They dragged us both into the boat. I collapsed on the bottom. Heaving. Coughing up brown water. Someone was doing CPR on the kid. Jen. Compressions. Rescue breaths. Come on, kid. Come on. Please. I tried to sit up. Couldn't. My whole body was shaking. Cold. Shock. Exhaustion. Marcus, stay down, Jackson ordered. But I needed to see. Needed to know. Jen kept working. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. The boy wasn't responding. How long had he been under before I found him? Too long. Maybe too long. God, please. Not after everything. Not after you brought us both up. Please. And the boy coughed. Water erupted from his mouth. His eyes flew open. He gasped. Choked. Started crying. The most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. Jen rolled him on his side. The boy vomited water. Kept crying. Kept breathing. Alive. He was alive. I closed my eyes. Felt tears mixing with the floodwater on my face. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We got him to the staging area. Paramedics took over. Oxygen. Warm blankets. Checking vitals. He was hypothermic. In shock. But alive. Breathing. Responsive. They wanted to check me too, but I waved them off. I'm fine, take care of the kid. I wasn't fine. I was shaking so hard I could barely stand. But I needed to see him. Needed to make sure. They loaded him into an ambulance. I watched it drive away. Lights flashing. Carrying a life that should have been lost. Jackson put a hand on my shoulder. That was the stupidest, bravest thing I've ever seen. I didn't feel brave. I felt confused. Overwhelmed. Changed. Because I knew what I'd felt in that water. And I didn't know what to do with it. We went back out. More houses. More rescues. But I was running on autopilot. My mind kept going back to that moment underwater. That hand on my shoulder. That impossible warmth. That lifting. I'd been in the military for 16 years. I believed in what I could see. What I could prove. What made sense. This didn't make sense. But it happened. I knew it happened. The rescue operations continued for 3 more days. We worked in shifts. Sleep when you could. Eat when you could. Back in the boat. Back in the water. We saved 23 people from that subdivision. Found 4 who didn't make it. That's the part they don't put in the news. The ones we found too late. The ones who stayed in their attics. The ones who thought they could wait it out. I helped carry them out. Helped bag them. Helped load them into the trucks that took them to the temporary morgue. That's the other part of the job. The part that follows you home. When the water finally receded enough for people to return, the devastation was unbelievable. Everything was covered in mud. Houses gutted. Cars destroyed. Belongings ruined. Lives turned inside out. We helped with that too. Hauling debris. Distributing supplies. Setting up shelters. The work didn't end when the water went down. It was just beginning. On day 6, a woman came to our staging area. Thin. Exhausted. Eyes red from crying. She was looking for someone. I heard there was a soldier who saved a boy, she said. A boy in a red shirt, Tyler Brooks, that's my son. My heart stopped. You're Tyler's mom. She nodded. Started crying again. They said he almost drowned. They said someone jumped in after him. I need to thank them. I need to thank whoever saved my baby. I didn't know what to say. That was me, I finally managed. Staff Sergeant Marcus Reed. She collapsed into me. Just fell against my chest and sobbed. I stood there awkwardly, arms out, not knowing what to do. Jackson gave me a look that said, "Hug her, you idiot." So I did. I held this stranger while she cried and thanked me over and over. He's all I have, she kept saying. His father died 2 years ago. He's all I have left. My chest got tight again. Not like before. Different. Where is he? I asked. Tyler. At the hospital, they're keeping him for observation, but he's okay. He's alive because of you. Can I see him? She pulled back, looked at me. Of course, please, he keeps talking about it, about what happened. He keeps saying things that don't make sense. Something cold went through me. What kind of things? She shook her head. Come see him, let him tell you. The hospital was overwhelmed. Flood victims. Injuries. Illness. Every bed full. Tyler was in pediatrics. 3rd floor. His mother led me there. She'd been staying with him. Sleeping in the chair next to his bed. He was awake when we walked in. Tiny in the hospital bed. IV in his arm. But alert. Alive. His eyes got huge when he saw me. That's him, he said. That's the soldier. I walked over. Pulled up a chair. Hey Tyler, I'm Marcus. How are you feeling? Better, he said. They said I almost died. I nodded. It was close. But you saved me. I tried. He looked at me with those serious kid eyes. The kind that see more than they should. Someone else helped, he said. My pulse quickened. What do you mean? In the water, before you came, I was drowning. I couldn't swim. I went under and I couldn't get back up. His mother was listening. Quiet. I could see she'd heard this before. I was so scared, Tyler continued. I thought I was going to die. I couldn't breathe. Everything was dark and I prayed. I said, God, please help me. And then... He paused. Looked down at his hands. Then what? I asked gently. Then someone pushed me up. I felt a hand on my back. It was warm, not cold like the water, warm, and it pushed me up to the top so I could breathe. My skin broke out in goosebumps. Did you see who it was? He shook his head. No, I looked, but there was nobody there, just water, but I felt it. I know I felt it. His mother was crying quietly. He keeps saying this, she whispered. The doctor said it was probably just the current or debris that happened to push him up, but he's insistent. Tyler looked at me. It wasn't debris, it was a hand. I know what a hand feels like. I believed him. God help me, I believed him. Because I'd felt it too. Tyler, I said slowly, when I was in the water looking for you, I was drowning too. The current pulled me under, I couldn't get back up, and I felt the same thing, a hand on my shoulder, something pushing me up, helping me. His eyes went wide. You felt it too? Yeah, I did. His mother looked between us. What are you saying? I didn't know how to explain it. Didn't know if I should try. I'm saying something else was in that water with us, I said finally, something that helped us both. Tyler nodded vigorously. An angel, he said. My dad used to tell me about angels. He said they're real. He said God sends them when we need help. I'd grown up going to church. Easter and Christmas mostly. I believed in God in the abstract way a lot of people do. But angels, miracles, that stuff was for Bible stories, not for flood rescues in Louisiana. Except I couldn't explain what I'd felt. And this kid was describing the exact same thing. The exact same impossible warmth in freezing water. The exact same lifting. Maybe I said maybe it was. His mother was staring at me. You really felt it? Yes, ma'am, I did. She sat down heavily. I've been praying since the flood started, she said, praying for God to protect Tyler. I got separated from him when the water came through our house. It just hit so fast. One minute we were trying to get to the car, the next minute the door burst open and the water took him. I couldn't reach him. I tried, but the current was too strong. I thought I'd lost him. I thought I'd lost my baby. She was crying again. I prayed harder than I've ever prayed in my life. I begged God to save him, to send someone, to not let him die. She looked at me. And he sent you. I shook my head. I don't think it was just me. Tyler reached out and took my hand. Small fingers wrapping around mine. Thank you, he said, for coming into the water, for not giving up. Something broke open in my chest. All the adrenaline. All the fear. All the weight of the last 6 days. I had to look away so they wouldn't see me crying. You're welcome, I managed. I visited Tyler twice more before he was discharged. Brought him a stuffed animal from the hospital gift shop. A dog. He named it Marcus. His mother gave me their contact information. Made me promise to stay in touch. I promised. I meant it. When I finally got home 8 days after I'd left, Sarah and Emma were waiting. Emma ran to me. I picked her up. Held her. Felt her alive and warm and safe in my arms. Sarah hugged us both. I was so worried, she whispered. I know, I'm sorry. I saw the news. They said a guardsman jumped into floodwater to save a drowning child. I knew it was you. Of course she did. She knew me. Was I right, she asked. Yeah, you were right. That night after Emma was in bed, I told Sarah everything. The jump. The drowning. The hand. Tyler's story. All of it. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Do you think it was real? She finally asked. The hand, the angel, whatever it was. I don't know what else it could have been. But you don't believe in stuff like that. She was right. I didn't. Or I hadn't. I felt it, Sarah, as real as I'm feeling you next to me right now. Something was in that water, something that saved us both. She took my hand. Maybe God knew that boy needed you, and that you needed him. I'd never thought of it that way. That maybe I was the one being saved. Not just Tyler. Me too. Recovery was long and strange. Not physically. I was fine. Sore for a few days. A cough that hung on. But nothing serious. The mental part was harder. I kept dreaming about the water. About drowning. About going under and not coming back up. I'd wake up gasping. She'd soak with sweat. Sarah holding me in the dark. You're okay, you're safe, you're home. I started seeing a therapist through the VA. Standard post-deployment stuff. She said I probably had some PTSD from the incident. That near-death experiences can do that. We talked about coping strategies. Breathing exercises. Grounding techniques. It helped. Some. But the dreams didn't stop. Neither did the questions. What had I felt in that water? Was it real? Was I losing my mind? Had the trauma made me imagine things? But how could Tyler and I imagine the same thing? How could we both describe the same impossible warmth? The same hand. The same lifting. I started reading. Books about miracles. About angel encounters. About people who'd experienced unexplainable things. I wasn't the only one. There were hundreds of stories. Thousands. People who'd been saved by strangers who disappeared. People who'd felt presences they couldn't explain. People who knew, absolutely knew, that something beyond them had intervened. It didn't answer all my questions, but it helped me feel less crazy. 3 months after the flood, Tyler's mother called. "I wanted you to know," she said. "Tyler's doing really well. He's back in school, seeing a counselor, processing everything, but he's okay." "That's great," I said. "I'm really glad." "He wants to see you again, if you're willing. We're having a birthday party for him next weekend. He's turning 10. He'd love it if you came." I went. Drove 2 hours to their new apartment. They'd lost their house in the flood. Everything. But they'd found a place. Starting over. Tyler answered the door. Bigger than I remembered. Healthier. Smiling. Marcus, he hugged me. I met his extended family. His grandmother. His aunts and uncles. His cousins. They all knew who I was. What I'd done. They thanked me. Hugged me. Made me feel like a hero. But I didn't feel like one. I felt like someone who'd been used for something bigger than myself. During the party, Tyler pulled me aside. "Can I show you something?" "Sure." He led me to his room. Showed me a drawing on his wall. It was him in the water. And a figure above him. Glowing. With wings. "I drew what I think it looked like," he said. "The angel that saved us." Us. Not just him. Us. "It's beautiful," I said. "Do you still think about it?" he asked. "Every day." "Me too." He looked up at me. "I'm not scared anymore of dying, because I know God's real. I know He sends help when we need it. I know we're not alone." Out of the mouths of babes. This kid had learned what I was still trying to figure out. On the drive home, I thought about faith. About belief. About how I'd spent 16 years trusting in training and equipment and protocols. All important things. All necessary things. But not sufficient. Not complete. There was something else. Something I'd ignored or dismissed or forgotten. Something that had saved my life. Saved Tyler's life. Something bigger than both of us. I started going to church. Not the Easter and Christmas kind. The regular kind. Zara was shocked. Then supportive. Then joining me. We brought Emma. Became part of a community. I met other veterans there. Other first responders. People who'd seen things. Experienced things. Couldn't explain things. We started a small group. Shared our stories. Prayed together. Helped each other process. It saved me in a different way than the hand in the water did. That hand gave me physical life. This gave me purpose for it. I stayed in the guard. Kept doing rescues. Kept serving. But differently. Before the flood, I trusted in my training. After the flood, I trusted in something more. I prayed before every mission. Not for safety necessarily. But for guidance. For wisdom. For the ability to be used for something beyond myself. And I saw miracles. Small ones. Quiet ones. The kind you could explain away if you wanted to. But I didn't want to. I saw them for what they were. Moments of grace. Moments of intervention. Moments when something beyond us stepped in. 1 year after the flood, there was a memorial service. For the people who didn't make it. For the communities that were devastated. For the collective trauma we'd all experienced. Tyler and his mother came. So did I. We sat together. Listened to the speeches. The prayers. The remembrances. At the end, they asked if anyone wanted to share. Tyler stood up. Walked to the microphone. This small kid in front of hundreds of people. "My name is Tyler Brooks," he said. "I almost died in the flood. I was drowning. I couldn't swim. I couldn't save myself." His voice was steady. Strong. "But God saved me. He sent an angel to push me up out of the water, and He sent a soldier to pull me out. Staff Sergeant Marcus Reed." He pointed to me. Everyone turned. I wanted to sink into the floor. "Marcus almost died too," Tyler continued, "trying to save me, but the same angel saved him because God wasn't done with either of us. He had plans for us. He still does." He paused. "I don't know why I survived when other people didn't. I don't know why God chose to save me, but I know He did, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure it mattered, making sure I do something good with this life I got back. He walked back to his seat. The place was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then everyone. Standing ovation. For a 10-year-old kid who understood more about grace than most adults ever will. After the service, people came up to me. Asked about the story. Asked what really happened. I told them the truth. All of it. Some believed me. Some looked skeptical. Some clearly thought the trauma had made us imagine things. I didn't care. I knew what I'd experienced. Tyler knew what he'd experienced. And no amount of skepticism could take that away. 2 years later, I got promoted to Sergeant First Class. Tyler came to the ceremony. He was 12 now. Almost a teenager. Still drawing pictures of angels. Still telling the story to anyone who'd listen. His mother told me he wanted to join the military when he was old enough. Wanted to save people like I'd saved him. I told him there were lots of ways to save people. Military was one. But so was being a doctor. A teacher. A counselor. A friend. Whatever you do, I said, do it with purpose. Do it knowing you were given a second chance. Do it in a way that honors that gift. He promised he would. I believed him. 5 years after the flood, I retired from the National Guard. 21 years of service. Time to step back. Spend more time with family. Figure out what the next chapter looked like. At my retirement ceremony, the colonel gave a speech. Talked about my service. My deployments. My rescues. Then he brought up Tyler. Staff Sergeant Reed exemplifies the Guard values, he said. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. He risked his life to save a child he didn't know, jumped into floodwater without hesitation. That's who we are, that's what we do. Everyone clapped. I stood there feeling like a fraud. Because I knew the secret. I hadn't saved Tyler alone. I couldn't have. I'd been drowning too. We'd both been saved by something else. Something I still couldn't fully explain. Something I'd learned to call grace. After the ceremony, Tyler came up to me. 15 years old now. Tall. Almost a man. Congratulations, Marcus. Thanks, kid. What are you going to do now? Good question. I don't know yet, figure it out as I go. He smiled. You'll do something good, I know you will. How do you know? Because you were saved for a reason, we both were. God doesn't waste miracles. God doesn't waste miracles. I thought about that a lot in the months after retirement. What was I supposed to do with this life? This second chance I'd been given. I couldn't just coast. Couldn't just exist. There had to be purpose. Meaning. Something that justified the intervention. I started volunteering. Disaster relief organizations. Teaching water safety. Helping train other first responders. Sharing my story with anyone who'd listen. Not for glory. Not for recognition. But because I thought maybe someone needed to hear it. Maybe someone was drowning in their own way. Maybe they needed to know that help comes. Even when it seems impossible. Even when you're under the water and out of air and out of hope. Help comes. I spoke at churches. Veterans groups. Schools. Told the story of the flood. Of Tyler. Of the hand that saved us both. Some people cried. Some people thanked me. Some people shared their own stories of impossible moments. Of unexplainable grace. Of times when they should have died but didn't. Should have failed but succeeded. Should have been alone but felt a presence. We're surrounded by miracles. We just don't always recognize them. We explain them away. Call them coincidence. Luck. Good timing. But sometimes they're more than that. Sometimes they're evidence of something bigger. Something that sees us. Knows us. Intervenes for us. Even when we don't deserve it. Especially when we don't deserve it. That's grace. Tyler's in college now. Studying to be a paramedic. Still wants to save lives. Still remembers the water. Still believes in angels. We stay in touch. Text every few months. Get together once or twice a year. He calls me his second dad. I call him my reminder. Because when I forget. When I get caught up in the daily grind and lose sight of the bigger picture. When I start to doubt or question or wonder if any of it was real, I think of him. I think of that small hand in mine. That small body that should have been lost. That small voice saying, "Someone pushed me up." And I remember. I remember that we're not alone in the water. We're never alone. Even when it feels like we are. Even when we're drowning and can't see the surface. Even when we've given up and stopped fighting. There are hands beneath us. Pushing us up. Carrying us forward. Saving us. So here's what I want you to know. If you're reading this, if you're hearing my story, if you're in your own flood right now, whatever that looks like, whatever darkness you're drowning in, whatever current has pulled you under, you're not alone. Help is coming. Maybe it's already there. Maybe you can't see it yet. Maybe it doesn't look like you expected. But it's there. You just have to be willing to feel it. To trust it. To let it lift you. I was a soldier for 21 years. I thought I knew everything about courage and strength and survival. But the most important thing I learned in floodwater while drowning. I learned that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit you can't do it alone. The bravest thing you can do is ask for help. The most powerful thing you can do is trust in something bigger than yourself. That's what saved me. That's what saved Tyler. Not training. Not strength. Not skill. Grace. Unearned. Undeserved. Unexplainable. Grace. So if you're drowning right now, stop fighting for just a second. Stop trying to do it alone. Ask for help. From God. From the universe. From whatever you believe in. And from the people around you. Because help comes in different forms. Sometimes it's a hand in the water. Sometimes it's a friend on the phone. Sometimes it's a counselor or a pastor or a stranger who says exactly what you needed to hear. But it comes. I promise you it comes. You just have to be willing to receive it. Tyler and I shouldn't be alive. By every logical measure, we should have drowned that day. The current was too strong. The water too cold. The odds too long. But we're here. Both of us. Living these bonus lives. These miracle lives. These second chance lives. And we're trying to make them matter. Trying to honor the gift we were given. Trying to be the kind of people worth saving. Some days are easier than others. Some days I still have nightmares about the water. Still wake up gasping. Still feel the panic of not being able to breathe. But then I remember the hand. The warmth. The lifting. And I remember that I wasn't alone then. I'm not alone now. None of us are. There are forces at work in this world that we can't see or measure or explain. Forces of love. Forces of grace. Forces that intervene in our darkest moments. I've seen it. I've felt it. I've lived it. And I'm telling you it's real. So whatever you're facing today, whatever flood is trying to sweep you away, whatever darkness is pulling you under, hold on. Ask for help. Trust that something bigger is at work. And let yourself be saved. Because you're worth saving. Your life matters. Your story isn't over. There are hands beneath you. Even if you can't feel them yet. They're there. Pushing you up. Carrying you forward. Bringing you home. I know. Because they carried me. And I'm still here. Still breathing. Still fighting. Still believing. Not because I'm special. But because grace is real. Miracles are real. And sometimes in the middle of the flood, when everything is dark and cold and hopeless, a warm hand reaches out and saves you. It saved me. It saved Tyler. And it can save you too. You just have to let it.